Welcome to the StormCast. Today is Sunday, October 19th, and it's a sunny 72 degrees outside. We're live on YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble, bringing you another impactful episode. As always, the StormCast is available everywhere you can find podcasts, so be sure to drop a 5-star review on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter and Rumble, and don't forget to like the video. Your support on Patreon also keeps us going strong. So let's get into it. I hope everyone has had a great week. As we enter the weekend, I want to say all the Spotify pods are now on video. So if you're on Spotify right now, you're watching this in video format, which is good. So now you guys can see all the images and stuff that I put on screen also on Spotify. I want to give you guys an update on stem cells. We're doing good, still making progress, still feeling good, still getting more and more movement. Workouts have been going much more and more better, still getting more and more function and movement and strength and activity through the muscles and firing of the muscles. So we're still making progress. I'm satisfied with stem cells so far, and I look forward to even getting some again in the future. So right now I am about 3 months out, maybe give or take two or 3 months from the last stem cell injections that I got. I did post a new video on that whole process, so go and watch that on YouTube. It's one of the most recent videos. And also, I've been seeing a lot of new movies. I saw the new recent Joker, pretty good. The second Joker of the newer franchise. It's got a great actor, leading actor, Joaquin Phoenix, but it wasn't my favorite Joker. I must admit, it didn't have nearly as much action. It was more so a drama, action, kind of like a backstory of the Joker. Interesting, but not as action packed as I was hoping for. I would give it, I believe I gave it a 7.5. I think my brother and my dad, who I saw it with, I think my pops gave it a 5, and my brother might have given it a 6.5. I thought it was great acting, just not enough action for my liking, especially for a DC comic such as the Joker. But the acting was amazing, and the story and everything had Lady Gaga in it. She did really good. I mean, she kind of added a good acting element to Joaquin Phoenix. I think that she may have watered it down a little bit as far as the singing. I feel like a lot of that could have been used to add some action scenes. But I also saw Terrifier 3. It's October, it's scary movie season, and I must say it didn't disappoint. It definitely had a lot of gore, a lot of jump scenes, a lot of terrifying scenes that you're gonna look back on, or that gave me nightmares. Really, like I was thinking about the scenes all night after I saw that movie, and how gory and sadistic and sinister a lot of those scenes were. So if you are in a scary movie, I would recommend seeing Terrified 3. I gave it believe I gave that also 7.5. So 7.5 out of 10. Those are the most recent movies I've seen. I do want to go see another movie today. We were gonna go see the newest Smile 2. So we may be having a movie review on that coming here soon as well. There's been some great UFC fight cards. It was the UFC 207 recently with the main card of Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree. We saw Alex knock out Khalil Roundtree in the third round. They were just going after it in that fight, standing toe to toe in the ring and just giving it all in the boxing side of things for MMA. And that's what you like to see, for those two type of fighters. Very explosive fighters, but of course, Alex Pereira did come out on top. He's a absolute dog recently, and he's been on a hot streak, pretty much undefeated in his last 10 fights. So he's definitely a contender in that middleweight class, and he has just been on a roll. So he's fun to watch. One of my favorite fighters to watch right now. Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington also for that card was a good fight. Juliana coming out on top there. Roman Dolidze knocking Kevin Holland's rib out of socket. That was a wild finish for that fight. And Roman Dolidze coming out on top, and Kevin Holland calling out Anderson, or actually the style bender, I should say, Adesanya. So that would be an interesting fight in that division. If Stylebender wants to pick up that fight and fight Kevin Holland, I feel like that matchup would be one of the most exciting fights to watch for the generation. And in the prelims of that fight, also you had Joaquin Buckley beating Stephen Wonderboy Thomas, and Alexander Hernandez beating Austin Hubbard, which Austin Hernandez, we follow each other on Instagram. He's a friend of the family as well. He was training out there in San Antonio when I was out there, and I saw him at Ambush Muay Thai gym one time, and got to watch him train a little bit. And that guy's a dog. He's, for his size, the dude's built, like a truck. So great wrestling in that fight. Great stand-up game for Hernandez. It was a close call. Joe Rogan and all the commentators were saying, DC and everyone were saying that it should not have probably been called as a win, but I think Alexander Hernandez did enough to come out on top for that fight. So shout out to Alexander Hernandez. And then we do have some more podcast episodes dropping soon with other guests. We got some episodes backed up. I haven't been going live as of recently because I've been pretty much just doing a lot of other content and getting that for you guys, getting it chopped up and edited and filmed. So that's been taking up a lot of my time, but there will be some podcasts dropping with guests in the near future in the next couple of episodes. So be on the lookout for that. So I do got a couple of interesting topics that I saw today. Guys, the future is now. All right, so we're in a great time to be alive. I feel like there's a lot of exciting things coming out with technology, and it's only improving and getting more and more technologically advanced out here. So there's some interesting articles that are coming out with artificial intelligence that I want to pull up on the screen here. And if you're in the chat, we got 4 people join with us live. Now go ahead and drop a W in the chat. We're going to go ahead and get this first topic pulled up here. So it's the caption is, "They told us, we just didn't know." And if you see on the screen here, we got Will Smith from iRobot in 2004. And then 20 years later, we got Elon Musk holding the new Tesla robot. And, it's almost like a spitting image almost. Like, I think Elon Musk must have drawn a lot of inspiration from iRobot when creating this new robot. If you haven't heard, he recently created a robot that is supposed to be helping out with healthcare, household activities, and other tasks. But we'll get into some of the things that his Tesla robot does here in a little bit. 2004, you got in the iRobot movie the RoboVan, and then 2024 now you got the new Tesla RoboVan that's supposed to be coming out as a means of transportation for society, which is insane. It's supposed to reduce carbon emissions and things like that, but also be like a futuristic form of transportation. So interesting. 2004. Like these robots look identical on the screen. If you're watching, you can see that the robot in 2004 has a face and the one in 2024 doesn't, but that's about the only difference. More iRobot. I mean, look at them. They're just, the future is now, 2024. These robots are supposed to be coming out soon. And it's interesting to think about what these things could be used for all types of different people. The 2024 car from Tesla and the one from iRobot look exactly the same, except the one in 2004 was made by Audi. And apparently there's a new iRobot movie coming out called We Robot 1010. I don't know how real this is. That would have been 9 days ago. So obviously that's not an actual real thing. But yeah, we got a lot of robot similarities here going on. So if it moves like the one from iRobot, then that means it's going to be very functional. It's because those ones looked and moved exactly like humans in that movie. That was a great movie also, by the way. So we're going to look at see on Twitter here. You can now own a Tesla Optimus humanoid robot for as low as $20,000 to $30,000. It can move objects, help with household chores, and assist with healthcare. So let's see what this is talking about here.
I think this will be the biggest product ever of any kind. Because I think everyone, of the 8 billion people of Earth, I think everyone's going to want their Optimus buddy. And there's going to be maybe 2. And then they'll be producing products and services. I predict, actually, provided we address risks of digital superintelligence, 80% probability of good outcome. Look on the bright side. The cup is 80% full. The cost of products and services will decline dramatically, and basically anyone will be able to have any products and services they want. It will be an age of abundance, the likes of which people have almost no one has envisioned. It'll be something special.
Elon Musk is envisioning a great future. You know, it's good that we have someone like him, as brilliant as him, with the mind of him, so innovative to be able to, you know, be a forefront in making this type of technology. He seems optimistic and positive about the future, which is, you know, something we need in the dark times of today. You know, it's hard out there. So something like this seems like it could change a lot of people's lives for the better. And I'm curious to know how many of you are willing to put up $20,000, $30,000 for this, because I'm giving my money right away to be able to have something like this, be able to make my life easier. I feel like it's an amazing investment if I can, you know, train it as an AI robot to be able to do some of my household tasks. It would probably replace the need for a caregiver or needing to ask someone for something as much as I have to with my situation, you know, with my disability. So something like this could definitely replace a lot of healthcare jobs. I foresee it replacing doctor, care, nursing, and, you know, so let's see what this says. So we have the Tesla robot here on the screen, the Tesla Optimus playing charades last night. This is either the single greatest robotics and LLM demo the world has ever seen, or it's mostly remote operated by a human. No in between. So let's see what's going on.
Whoa.
Sweet cheese.
Great video. Okay, so what games do we play?
What games do I play? I play charades. You want to play charades?
That sounds great.
You do.
Yeah, let's do it. I got one for you.
That doesn't even sound like a robot. It's communicating fast and, with charisma, and it's almost human-like, which is, if that's not being controlled by a human right now, that's absolutely insane, which I think it's completely AI controlled. So it's advancing at a fast rate. We're used to AI being choppy and, kind of hard to understand, but this is human-like, unique, personable.
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. One word. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
We're pretty sure we all.
What I'd assume would happen is that it's speaking
It looks like you're fishing right
like
now.
what Garfield is doing on.
That's right. You got it. Nice work.
Same thing.
Here's some Air 5.
Air 5.
All right. Hope you're enjoying the event, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hope you guys are all enjoying the event.
Not awkward at all, just chill. You could barely tell that it was a different life form. It almost seems human-like. So something like this is scary to watch because it's going to replace a lot of human interaction. Why would you need a girlfriend if you have an autonomous assistant humanoid friend, which this thing pretty much is? Why would people need to go out and make friends anymore if they can buy themselves a robot for $20K that can do the exact same things but have more value in your life almost and help you out with things? This Tesla Optimus robot at $20K, to never have you do dishes again and have someone to beat Seattle's of Canton is a no barrier. So let's see what this ad looks like. Picking up your mail, watering your plants, watching you with kids, playing games with you and your family. Walk your dog, serve drinks, mow your lawn, whatever you can think of. Getting your groceries. Can it make your food? I think it can make your food. And so why would someone need to hire a maid? This is this is a one-time purchase, or maybe you pay in installments. I'm sure Elon Musk has got a plan that he can set up. I'm sure you can set some type of plan up, pay per month, and you got yourself an assistant. Guys, take my money. I don't think I would want to be the person that doesn't have a robot, right? Like everyone's gonna want to have a robot. We're gonna move on to the next same topic, but another Twitter post. Let me pull it up here on the screen. W's in the chat. We do it live. And I think a lot of people are going to opt into this. You got a lot of lonely guys, maybe even lonely girls out there, who may have some money to give up, and they may hire themselves a friend, an Optimus robot, and completely erase the need to have to be lonely anymore. It can, change someone's life, have as a companion. But what he's talking about is having them do household chores, which no one's gonna opt out of that, right? Like No one wants to be, wasting time cutting the yard or, doing dishes or doing the laundry. I'm sure there's going to be some old-fashioned people out there that are, stuck in the ways that don't want to do it until the very end. But once those people die off, then all that's left is the future, and that's coming very soon. The older generation is slowly dying, and the future is now. On this post, the recap of Tesla's We Robot event, Cybercap, will cost around $30,000, operating costs of about 20 cents a mile. We will have robotic cleaning and wireless charging. We'll be able to make money for people on its own in production before 2027. So that's for the Cybercab coming out. I guess they unveiled the Cybercab as well, which we'll look at here in a little bit. For the Optimus robot, it'll cost between $20,000 and $30,000 and will be used to complete tasks and chores. It can talk like humans and move like humans, which we saw just now. Expected to be ready by 2025. The RoboVan is an autonomous bus which can transport up to 20 people. Can also be used to transport goods, and there's no current timeline of when that should be out, but I'm thinking soon at the rate that Elon Musk is moving with all his companies, count Elon to come up with something innovative. Elon Musk shows the Tesla's humanoid Optimus robot once again at the company's We Robot event, claiming whatever you think of, it can and will do. So let's see.
As I hit the curb.
Walking through a crowd of people. That's scary. It just moves right in. Even distinguish it from a different walking person. Yeah, it looks like someone that just do. At a party here serving drinks. Just vibing with the people, got a cowboy hat on. I think they're talking. Can't hear anything, but I think he's actually having discourse with them. And the future's now. Now we got robots at parties. This is a real robot doing this. This isn't Photoshop or, this is real.
See that?
For a photo.
You want to get a photo?
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Little video.
Hey.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Bro.
Scary stuff. Let's see what that does. So now that we have robots, what's the next step? And the next step, of course, is sex robots. Right? Of course. Because what a man is going to make, of course, is going to be a sex robot. So they actually do have sex robots that you can date, apparently, if you're lonely, are about to become publicly available for purchase. The robotic sex dolls are designed to be indistinguishable physically, cognitively, and emotionally from actual humans, except hotter and prepared to fulfill any desire. The most popular model of the Harmony doll is 5'1", 70 pounds, and has 32F breasts. So that's a tiny one there. I guess the creator of these likes short girls with big breasts, right? Which most people do, but it's insane that this thing is real, and that these are almost human like as well. Like it looks like it's talking here. We're gonna click on that, but users can reportedly customize every feature of their sex doll, even choosing replicas of their favorite prawn performer. Consumers even sculpt the personality of their doll, choosing from characteristics like sexy, funny, shy, jealous, angry, intellectual, talkative, insecure, moody, even specifying the characteristic they want to be dominant. After designing the perfect doll, he plugs it in like an appliance and gets to work. So you can customize these, apparently. Let's see what this guy's.
My baby, 10 minutes without you seems like an eternity.
Through that system, you can connect the AI that you've created in the app to the robot and carry on the conversation with her that way. Once you've got that loaded and you hit chat, she just comes to life.
Good you came back so fast, baby. I'm glad you came back that fast. Wow, baby, 10 minutes without you seems like an eternity.
Through that system, you can connect the AI.
There's going to be a lot of people out there being replaced by these as well. A lot of jobs being gone. Prawn stars for sure. OnlyFans models, you guys can go ahead and kiss your job goodbye. No one's going to be spending $20 a month on you, on your content anymore, when you have a robot at home that can, do everything for you. That OnlyFans model or a prawn star would, fulfill fantasy-wise and all that for someone. So sex workers, you guys' jobs your days are numbered as well when these things are fully on the market. And, they're only going to get smarter. They're going to be integrated with AI as well. So these things are going to be scary for a lot of you girls out there. Getting money from OnlyFans, but there's still going to be people out there, I'm sure, guys that actually want a real unique, a real genuine woman, a real life woman. But there's a lot of guys out there that don't want to go through that struggle and that, the work for it, to get that sexual access for that woman. So they're going to rely on these robots to fulfill that now, and that's going to be scary for our society as well. So, do what you want, but I feel like this is something that's going to be in a lot of guys' lives, you know what I mean? So, increased efficiency for men out here with these robots. And they're, AI controlled, so they're smart. They can hold a conversation. They don't argue with you, I'm assuming. And that's, that's something simple. That's all that a guy would want a lot of times, is something to come home to and to be able to have sex with and not to have to deal with in any other way. So that's scary for society. It's going to take a lot of work away from all the sex workers out there. So dating is going to become a lot harder for women, actually, because of these things. Or maybe it's just going to wean out the guys that they don't want to, necessarily date. So it could go either way. Dating's become increasingly harder with social media. And so I think 25 to 50 years from now, these things are going to be everywhere. They'll be mainstream. It seems taboo now, but so did dating online 20, 30 years ago, but now that's how everyone meets and dates. So it's coming for sure. Elon Musk also unveiled the RoboVan. So let's see what this. That's so cool.
What happens if you need a vehicle?
Almost doesn't look real.
It's bigger than
The Tesla van
is this is we're going to make this, and it's going to look like that.
Oh my gosh! Of course they're gonna make this.
And you see this coming towards you. That's sick. So this can carry up to 20 people, and it can also transport goods. So you can configure it for goods transport within a city, or.
Is that Elon in the van speaking from a loudspeaker? Insane. The things that, I mean, he's legit just having fun with life at this point. Like, he's just using all that money to just create the things that come to his head. Anything that person that comes to his head. Robots. You know, I'm sure he's doing this because, you know, he wants to see humanity progress, but I'm sure this is just like so fun for him to be able to run these type of companies as well. And, you know, he's got billions of dollars to do it. So the RoboVan seats 20 and can be adapted to commercial or personal use and be used as a school bus, RV, and a cargo holder.
The RoboVan. Green space in the cities that we live in. So that would be quite fantastic. Oh, and also, what happens if you need a vehicle that is bigger than a Model Y? The RoboVan. The RoboVan is this is we're
because the RoboVan.
It's going to look like that. Now, can you imagine going down the streets and you see this coming towards you? That'd be sick.
That would be sick. 20 people can hold in that thing.
This can carry up to 20 people, and it can also transport goods. So you can configure it for goods transport within a city, or transport of up to 20 people at a time.
Wow.
So this is gonna, the RoboVan is what's gonna solve for high density.
RoboVan.
So if you want to take a sports team somewhere, or you're looking to really get the cost of travel down to, I don't know, 5-10 cents a mile, then you can use the RoboVan.
RoboVan.
The RoboVan, but so yeah. You know, one of the things that we want to do, and we've seen this with the Cybertruck, is we want to change the look of the roads. The future should look like the future.
The future should look like the future. So he's got some ideas about the future, doesn't he? I see. So yeah, guys, that's interesting stuff right there. I'm excited to see where that goes. Imagine seeing that come down the street, and it's going to do a lot for our economy. You know, these things are going to completely replace a lot of gas, you know, type cargo vehicles and bus using petroleum. So that's gonna, he's gonna have a lot of time getting support from those type of companies. They're gonna give him obviously a lot of pushback, because it's gonna reduce a lot of the need for gas and petroleum and things like that. So he's gonna completely change industry once these things come out. So this next article I saw, also another Elon Musk related topic, but this is from SpaceX, and this is from The Guardian, from covering SpaceX. SpaceX launches Starship rocket and catches booster in giant metal arms. So let's look at this video.
4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Vehicles pitching downrange.
Booster catch. We're going to ignite 13 of those Raptor engines, and this view is incredible right now. You can see how fast this vehicle is moving on the left hand. Landing burn, 13 ignited. We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those chopsticks now in the air.
Wow. Easy. I hear the crowd going absolute nuts. That's very exciting. I mean, look at that entire rocket just easily gliding back into the arms. So, I mean, no need for like astronauts to land in the middle of the ocean anymore. You got precision landing like that. That's amazing to watch. Elon Musk's huge rocket sets off on test flight before upper stage splashdown and explosion in Indian Ocean. Elon Musk's SpaceX achieved a significant milestone on Sunday by catching the massive booster stage from his Starship rocket in a pair of robotic arms as it fell back to the company's launch pad in southern Texas. The historic feat, which drew praise from astronauts and space experts, topped a successful 5th test flight for the unscrewed Starship, which blasted off from the Boca Chica starbase at 7:25 or 7:25 a.m. local time on Sunday, as the rocket's 71-meter super heavy booster separated 40 miles above the Earth. The upper stage pushed to an altitude of 90 miles, leaping around the planet at 17,000 miles per hour before splashing down in the Indian Ocean as planned. SpaceX staff erupted in cheers and applause as the falling booster reignited 3 of its Raptor engines, slowed its rapid descent, and swung towards the Macazilla launch tower, where it was held fast by the mechanical arms labeled chopsticks. It is the first time SpaceX has attempted the bold maneuver. Once it seems as a crucial to its goal of developing fully reusable rockets capable of ferrying humans and scientific equipment and supplies to the moon and onwards to Mars. Are you kidding me? Said Dan Hewitt, SpaceX's communications manager, who was left shaking at the spectacle. What we just saw, that looked like magic. This is a day of engineering history books, added Kate Tice, a quality systems engineer at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. I mean, the precision that thing landed with, I mean, just, you know, all the mechanics and design and preparation that went into creating just that must have been, you know, millions on top of millions and hours on, you know, years of time in planning. And it just, I mean, it looked amazing. The rest of Starship re-entered Earth's atmosphere horizontally, with onboard cameras showing a smooth pinkish purple plasma covering the ship's Earth-facing side. The ship's hot side is coated with 18,000 heat shielding tiles that were improved since SpaceX's last test in June, when Starship completed its full test flight to the Indian Ocean but suffered tile damage that made its re-entry difficult. This time, Starship appeared more intact upon reigniting one of its 6 engines to position itself upright of the ocean landing. The SpaceX live stream showed the rocket splashing down in the nighttime waters off Australia's coast, then toppling on its side, concluding its test mission. A separate camera view from a vessel near the splashdown site then showed the ship exploding into a vast fireball. It was unclear whether the explosion was controlled detonation or the result of a fuel leak. Musk said the ship landed precisely on target, commenting on SpaceX's successful capture of the Starship booster. Chris Hadfield, a Canadian former astronaut, wrote on X, "There was an enormous step forward in human capability today. Makes even more excited for our collective future. Congratulations all at SpaceX." The engineers they're doing something special, and they have a amazing leader, obviously, in Elon Musk. So I see us going to Mars here in the future. I feel like that could definitely be something that could be accomplished within the next 20 to 30 years, as long as Elon Musk continues on the trajectory he's on with SpaceX and all his other companies, of course. So we got some more news I found interesting, some more topics. We got Donald Trump confirming he's going to be on the Joe Rogan podcast with the Nelk Boys.
Going on during COVID.
Was.
And I think that's personally when I started watching him a lot too. And just he's an honest guy too, right? You're doing a lot of podcasts recently. One that I would love to see you on is, I think Joe Rogan has to have you on.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Oh, sure, I would.
I think Joe, like, besides us, Joe's
I think I'm doing it, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you are going to do Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I am.
Joe Rogan's the best in the game for sure. And I think,
Did Joe become so well known because of the UFC? And he does a great job with that, right? What was it that made Joe the best?
During COVID, he was very outspoken on all the corruption going on during COVID. And I think that's personally when I started watching him a lot too. And he's an honest guy too, right?
He is.
So I think
good guy.
And I think you guys together would just
and he's got a good voice. That's important.
Yeah, that's important. Trump is so cool with the Nelk Boys and all the other podcasts he's been on. He's he can hold conversations with these type of guys, interesting conversations, which is not something that we see politicians do often. So that's why I think he has a lot of favor and a lot of backing by a lot of the youth and guys like the Nelk Boys, because he's with the pop culture, he seems human, like someone that you can talk to. And as we see on a lot of these, he's funny, he's entertaining, and he can hold conversations that are progressive in as far as finding out for our country the best options. And I feel like he's he seems like the stronger defense for our country as far as how other countries will look at us. He's gonna hold more of a look for our country, a better look for our country, I should say. So this is when he is on the PBD podcast, which is honestly insane that he went on to all these podcasts, the Andrew Schulz podcast, PBD, and then confirming that on Nelk. It just shows that he can talk to a lot of different crowds. And you see Kamala going on some podcasts. Recently call her daddy, but nothing that doesn't seem like pre-scripted or pre-written, or somewhere where they're going to challenge his ideas. Like if we got Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan podcast, one of the biggest podcasts in the world, the things that they're going to talk about are probably going to be so woke and so advanced and so insane and crazy to watch. So I'm really looking excited for that podcast to drop, no doubt. But here he is here on PBD. And then also, we never really thought that Joe Rogan would actually interview these politicians. We got Kamala supposed to be going on there apparently too. That's been talked about. We're going to be talking about that here in a little bit, but I don't know how that would be. I could definitely see Trump going on there, but Kamala I can't really see, because Joe Rogan's one of those guys who's going to challenge you, and he's going to dig deep. And I feel like once it gets past a lot of surface level questions, Kamala kind of struggles, going past a certain part in a conversation. She kind of, retracts a lot of her statements and goes back. As far as, that's just what I've been seeing a lot of And a lot of people noticed that as well. She kind of, doesn't really answer questions to, expand the conversation or, let us kind of understand what's actually going on. She kind of goes back on a lot of statements. So we'll see what Trump is talking about here on PBD. Obama is angry. Donald Trump blames Obama for losing the black vote. So let's see.
I want to get right into it. I got a lot of questions I want to ask you. Some of it's personal, some of it's business, some of it's politics. But something happened last week. Barack Obama, he's at this event, he's speaking.
Right.
And he's given this message about your economy, how great the economy was. And then at the end of it, he says, you didn't build that economy. I built this. I kind of want to get your reaction on this talk that he's given. Rob, if you can put that up.
And the reason some people think, wow, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I had spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time. So just in case everybody has a hazy memory, he didn't do nothing except those big tax cuts.
So how do you feel about this when you see him saying this last week?
I think he's angry. He pretends not to be, but I think he's an angry guy. He's a nasty guy. He's got a little bit of an edge, and he's angry about a lot of things. You look at what happened with Biden, and you look at what he did with Biden. He really hurt Biden because I'm not sure he wouldn't have imploded anyway. We had the debate, and he was down quite a bit, and they walked out, and they just took it away from him. I mean, if you think about it, they stole the election from a sitting president. That's, I always say coup, but the word coup, I don't think it's accurate enough. They just walked in and took it away from him. That is a legendary thing.
Did they steal the election, or did Biden actually win last election? Y'all let me know in the comments. I got a feeling that there's some dark stuff going on behind these elections in the first place. That's why a lot of people agree with me and think the same way, and they don't vote. But I think at least casting your vote, and you got to do it, just in case. You never know. But there's a lot of people at Electoral College and the deep state that make a lot of decisions behind the scenes, and it's deeper than what we see at the surface, of course.
He didn't want to give up. He's angry now. They're all angry, the Democrats, if you think. She's angry. They're both angry. But no, I watched that last week, and I think he spoke down to black men. I thought it was terrible the way he spoke to them. But
you think it's effective? You think he still carries the same stick as he did, maybe 8 years ago or 12 years ago?
No, I don't think it is. No, I don't think he does. I think people have gotten smart. And no, I don't believe he does at all. I hadn't seen him. He's changed a lot. Visually, he's changed. I like to say visually as opposed to from the look standpoint, because, of course, looks don't matter anymore in politics. You say looks don't matter. It doesn't make any difference because we want to be politically correct, but they do matter. But he's changed. His look has changed actually quite a bit. I haven't seen him in a long time.
And by the way, Rob, I think that's even 4 years ago. I think it's even more than it is
Well,
today.
no, but the
what does he mean by that? Hold on.
Statement he just made was a couple of days ago, and that
it was a couple of days ago.
Looks,
and it's similar.
It looks the same to me, chat. Y'all let me know if y'all can tell the difference. But he looks like same Barack Obama, maybe. Trump's. He knows him a little bit more than I do.
Similar to the statement he made back in 2012 when he told business owners, "You didn't build that." Remember when he said that? I don't know if you remember that whole comment. I think this is the speech, Rob. If you want to play this.
If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
So this becomes a pattern of
communism.
You see a pattern of communism there?
No, I mean, that's basically the view. We didn't do anything.
Right.
Government did it. Somebody did it, but anybody but us.
Do you think this works with the undecided voter? Do you think the undecided voter that's sitting, our audience, they're entrepreneurs, they're small business owners, they're family, they have kids, they want to win, they got dreams, they want to do something. Do you think a message like that from him lands on the business owner, on the undecided voter, on the person that says, you know what, I think he's right. I'm going to go vote for him. You think it works?
I think you don't have that many undecided voters. I think by now you have very strong Trump voters. I don't think you have strong Democrat voters, but I don't think you have strong Kamala voters. What's to vote for? I mean, take a look. She can't do an interview. She hasn't. Has she been in here to do an interview?
No, not yet.
I don't think you'll see her. You know,
She's claiming she's going to go on Rogan.
Well, that'll be interesting. So am I.
I heard.
But I think I am. I don't know. I think so. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens today with Brett Baer.
It seems like him and Joe Rogan don't like they have a power, like it's a power off between them two. Because Rogan's a powerful man in his own right, and then of course you got Trump, in his being a billionaire in his ways. So I don't know how their dynamic would be in conversation, but I feel like it'd definitely be an interesting one. And of course Joe Rogan's gonna get him to try to talk about a lot of different interesting topics. So we're still waiting on here on October 19th 2024. So maybe it drops here before the election coming up in November. It's crazy to think that the next president will be chosen within the next month. So if you're following, you're seeing that this is a crazy election, one of the most pivotal and important, I would say, of my lifetime, based on all the things with the going on with the border crisis, and you got abortion right issues that a lot of politics are leading towards these days. That's a big deciding factor in who gets a vote there, with Trump being a Republican and conservative and his beliefs on that, and Kamala being a far left liberal Marxist, so in how the type of regime that she wants to run, it's going to be interesting to see where people vote based on those two issues. A lot of people, including myself, are casting their vote on Trump because they feel like he's going to be a stronger person when it comes to foreign affairs and wars, and how we're seen, and how our commander-in-chief and the strength of our military is seen by other countries.
Brett's two people. He can be very nice, or he can be himself.
He was tough on you. If he's tough on her the way he was tough on you, he was very tough on you.
He was always nasty to me. And
right.
I don't think he'll be tough on her. I don't think he'll be. Fox is a very disappointing thing. During the days, Fox is just terrible. And but
I want to show something with this. When you look at this whole Barack Obama thing, I think the one thing they don't show, you were talking yesterday, I think it was the Bloomberg event, which, by the way, I loved. Yeah. I love the way you handled the whole terrorist conversation. That was a great event.
I got hoodwinked to go on that. I was supposed to make a speech in front of the Chicago Economic Club, which is a big deal, which is a very prestigious place, beautiful. Everything was beautiful. And all of a sudden, I understand I'm being interviewed by this gentleman. And he's got a reputation for being about, I'd love to see him do Kamala. He should do Kamala. That would be beautiful. But he's a tough cookie, and he's the chairman of Bloomberg. He's a big guy. So all of a sudden, I'm being interviewed. And I wasn't happy about it because I found out that he is, his reputation precedes him. And, but I decided to do it. You have a choice: walk out and don't do it and have a scandal, or go in and do it and hopefully win, or you go in and do it and you get killed, which is probably the worst. But it was a great interview, actually. And he was nasty, but he wasn't overly nasty to me. I mean, other people thought he was. I thought nastier was David Muir, when he kept interrupting me during the debate and saying false things, like when I said crime is way up, and he said, no, crime is down. I said, you're wrong about that. Crime is up. And then 2 days later, it came out that crime is up.
Right.
I mean, to me, that was much nastier than this gentleman. But it was really a study of business. It was a detailed study of business.
You're talking about with the Bloomberg one?
With the Bloomberg,
Right.
and people loved it.
I agree. The tariff one. And the one thing I wanted to show is the following. So you know how you talked about Jerome Powell, what an easy job. You come once a month and he said, we're going to increase the rates.
Greatest job there is.
I think this is the one thing they don't talk about. So Barack Obama got elected November 4th. Okay. Quantitative easing started November 26th.
Right.
And it stayed for 8 years until you got elected.
Right.
So if you look at that low, pretty much 0% interest rate,
right,
and then you get elected, right? If you go to January 2016, Rob, for the audience to see that, and then from there, one by one, rates are going up, and then Biden comes in, goes back down to zero to try to save the economy, and then the rest is obviously history.
Right.
But do you think the average person knows, like, the impact of going to 0%? How much does that positively help the impact when Fed lowers the rates to 0.5 point?
Yeah, it has a huge impact. The power of the Fed is, I think, pretty strong. Some people disagree with it. They think it's overridden by the interest rate climate. But I think the power of the Fed is very strong. It's an interesting graph, actually.
Yeah, this just shows that the rates didn't help you. When he says it was.
Well, they didn't use them to help me.
Right.
And Powell, I gave him a hard time because he was raising them. And
yeah, don't forget the state of our economy. That's another big deciding factor for a lot of people. A lot of people believe and saw that under Trump, gas prices and grocery costs were cheaper. And then once Biden was elected, things like that, inflation rose a little bit. It all depends on the state of the economy, of course, but the way we, attack energy and how they see energy is going to be a big deciding factor on that. And Donald Trump seems to not mind to want to drill and get oil from the ground, and do a lot of that type of work, as where Kamala is kind of looking more towards like electrical based clean energy type, but the costs have risen within the past couple of years with her being vice president. So it'd be interesting to see what her position is on lowering costs on those type of things.
And I was never a big fan of his. He was late and he was early. He was too early and too late, but I had the greatest economy in history. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Despite that, this is another thing I can say, despite the fact that they weren't very high, but they were, reasonably high. And despite the rates not being at zero, I had a pretty good, we had a great run.
This is the USA gear, limited edition for the rest of the year. If you love America, sport this USA gear.
So Donald Trump is blaming Obama there for losing the black vote. And as of recently, I've seen a lot more black, black for Trump, stuff like that. And, the black community, especially black men, leaning towards Trump in this election. I think the stats also prove that as well, that a lot of black men are leaning towards Trump in the coming election. We got Jason Wheeler in the chat saying no more sex workers for sure. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, Tesla's robots are going to completely change the way, men are, in their access to sexual activity, and that, so it's coming for sure. Colin Rugg on Twitter put this post that looks interesting, and I wanted to react to it. It's a report that Kamala Harris is considering sitting down with Joe Rogan for an interview, according to multiple sources who spoke with Reuters. Harris campaign officials reportedly met with Rogan's team this week. The development comes as Harris is desperately trying to reach more male voters as she continues to struggle with men. Just this week, for example, Tim Walz went on a hunting outing to impress men, which received mixed reviews. Donald Trump also indicated that he would join Rogan's show during an interview with the Nelk Boys. The following video was a recent episode of Rogan with Michael Malice, where he shared some of his opinions on Harris.
It all bothers me, the fragility of the human mind. You know, that so everybody forever was like, Kamala Harris is the worst vice president. She's the least popular vice president of all time. And then in a moment in time, all of a sudden she's our solution. She's our hero. Everybody's with her. All these social media posts about her. Try Googling a negative story on her. You won't find one.
So,
ta-da!
Okay, you've got.
Do you think they have her medicated?
Yeah, Rogan actually definitely hit something there where he said that, you know, people just started getting on board as soon as she became the president-elect. You know, before that obviously was Joe Biden, who dropped out. But once she became elect, you know, before that, nobody really, you know, gave her much, you know, prowess or, you know, recognition as a good president or candidate. And then all of a sudden she just, you know, started receiving all type of support out of nowhere, which, I mean, is kind of confusing, you know, based on like the state of the economy now and some of the policies that are in place and the way the, you know, state of the world has been going as of recently. So, you know, it's interesting to see where a lot of that support, you know, I'd like to understand where a lot of that support came from. Is it maybe because she's a Black woman? You know, apparently she's Black. So, you know, she appears Black anyway. And I feel like that's another thing that Donald Trump could have done in order to go ahead and secure the entire election, is if he would have hired a diverse VP. Instead of JD Vance, he could have maybe got someone like Tulsi Gabbard, someone who could have got that female and, you know, racial vote on the left. And he also would have secured the conservative votes. I think that would have been a great move on his part, but we'll see where it goes. It's going to be, it's seeming like going to be a somewhat of a close one, but I don't really see how it could be. But at the same time, you know, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. How many of you out there voting?
Because there was a guy that was speculating that some of the things that she says, the way she's sort of disconnected sometimes, and
I don't
she
know
goes
what
on these rambles, that it's indicative of certain anti-anxiety medication. I do not know if this is true. See if you can find that, because really
that
shouldn't
would
say
make
that about
that would make
our future president.
Yeah,
she's gonna win.
No, she's not.
She can win.
She absolutely can win. I do not think she's going to win, because the more she talks, like in 2020, how bad do you have to be that you can't even make Iowa? She couldn't even compete with the mayor of South Bend.
I feel like we are in this very bizarre time where people are giving in to the bullshit in a way that I never suspected people would before. And this is one, they just want no Trump, no matter what, and they're willing to gaslight themselves to think that. And by the way, I think Hillary could win. If Hillary jumped back in,
I've been saying that for months.
If Hillary jumped back in, I think the problem was also the money, because there was it was like $250 million in the campaign fund that has, if it only works if she's on the ticket.
Right.
So that's part of the problem. But I feel like Hillary could win. She won the popular vote in 2020.
I've been saying this for a year in different shows, and she would have won in pretty.
Michelle Obama could win too.
No, I don't.
If she wanted to do it, you don't think so?
I don't. I think that's kind of this. You sound like your parents. I think it's this boomer idea. She doesn't want it.
I'm not saying that she would be awesome at it. But I think
anyone can win of either party.
Yes.
Whoever the nominee is. Like even Chris Christie could have won if he's the Republican nominee. It's
I would
possible.
have thought that Trump getting shot would, like, that's it, election's over. But it's like they memory hold that so quick.
You would have thought Trump getting shot would have had 8 years of corporate journalists talking about hate speech.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if he would have gotten, you know, God forbid, killed, you know, the ex-president, what that would have meant for the election, who would have been the next candidate? What would that have meant for the Republican Party as a whole, and how we, do the race? And then what would that have done to the country, the state of the country, and the people and the voters in it? That would have completely flipped everything, and that could have been very bad. That could have been much worse than what happened. So, and he's obviously been getting multiple assassination attempts, apparently. They're trying to take him out. He should have Secret Service for life, obviously not as high of a level as if he was the sitting president, but he is a vice president, and so he's heavily protected. But apparently, if someone wants to try to attempt, it's possible, as we've seen,
causing violence, to be like, let's take a step back. And that went for what, a week?
They did take a step back
for
a
a
little bit,
for a week,
and then they went right back at him.
You want to talk about this memory holding?
Yeah.
With the insanity of the who's that? That was Elon who put up, like, if you Google President Donald, it says President Donald Reagan.
No, I tried it.
What happened?
Maybe they fixed it. It said President Donald Trump.
Okay. Well, he had a screenshot, so I'm sure he didn't Photoshop
no. I mean, it's based on a lot of things, right? Like what people are searching for. I would imagine that the assassination attempt on Trump would be the first one that you would see.
Yeah.
Assassination attempt on President would be Trump, because that's the most recent.
Yes.
But it's not.
And most newsworthy.
But it does show it. You just have to type it all in, which is interesting, because that little difference between what you can find and what you get presented immediately has a huge shift in the way people access information. And this is Robert Epstein's work.
The Creepy Line, the documentary, everyone should watch it.
Yeah. And this thing is very real. And what it is like, if you try to Google certain negative stories, like negative stories on people, it will overwhelm you with positive stories. It'll take a long time before you get to the negative stories.
Yeah, how he explained it is, here's how they can tip the scale.
Yeah.
If I Google Hillary Clinton, and I have it so Google gives fairly positive stories about Hillary as the first 10 results, you're not going to go to the second page. If I Google Donald Trump and Google gives you 7 negative stories, it's going to move the needle a little bit toward her
Quite
against
a bit.
him. Yeah.
Quite a bit. Like, if you're a person who's on the fence, you're like, maybe Donald Trump's not a bad guy. And then you Google him, and then you start reading some of these like pieces that they've written about him. It'll change your perspective.
You really think she's going to win?
I'm saying it because she could. I'm not saying it because I think she's going to. And I'm not saying because I want her to. I'm just being honest. Like, I could see her winning.
I think she's going to lose a lot of the black male vote.
Really? That's
I don't think they're going to go in the booth and pull the lever for her like they did for Biden, who's Obama's boy.
Yeah.
It all bothers.
Interesting take by Michael Malice there. I agree completely that he has the black male vote this year. I think it's just something about Kamala that a lot of black men can't jump on board with. I don't know what it is, her policies, but she's the opposite of conservative. She doesn't speak too much about God, and I don't really hear. She's real left, real liberal. So we'll see what goes on there. Joe Rogan, he's very neutral when it comes to this type of stuff, when it comes to politics, and he's real center. So I think having them on will expose a lot of their policies, and a lot of votes will be swinged in either direction after those podcast drops. That would be insane if they both go on there, though. So we got one more topic for today's pod. It's been a good pod so far today. Drop a W in the chat if you made it to this far. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in for today's episode. So we got one more topic here, talking about how there's a thought-to-text chip smaller than Neuralink from Elon Musk company, Neuralink, the brain chip interface, computer interface, so this thought-to-text chip is smaller than Neuralink and achieves 91% more accuracy. So EPFL researchers have developed a tiny, efficient brain machine interface, or BMI chip, called MIBMI, which is much smaller and less invasive than Elon Musk Neuralink, measuring just 8 millimeters. It processes brain signals directly on the chip, unlike Neuralink's external processing system. BMI translates brain activity into text with 91% accuracy by recognizing distinctive neural codes, or DNCs, for each letter, using less space and power. Though not yet tested in humans, it could help those with motor impairments like ALS communicate, and researchers are exploring broader applications, including speech and movement decoding. So, we see here that Neuralink isn't the only brain-computer interface company out there, pushing to get the brain chip directly and process those signals. There's other ones out there, and they are developing fast and constantly evolving. So that's going to be interesting when that comes out. That's just a little Instagram post on it, but there's also an article here from New Atlas about the thought-to-text chip. So let's read a little bit about that. The brain-machine interface races on while Elon Musk's Neuralink has garnered most of the headlines in this field. A new small and thin chip out of Switzerland makes it look downright clunky by comparison. It also works impressively well. Scroll down here a little bit. So we got the chip has been developed by researchers at the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne, or EPFL, and represents a leap forward in the sizzling space of brain-machine interfaces, or BMIs, devices that are able to read activity in the brain and translate it into real-world output, such as text on a screen. That's because this particular device, known as miniaturized brain-machine interface, MIBI, is extremely small, consisting of two thin chips measuring just 8 millimeters total. By comparison, Elon Musk's Neuralink device clocks in a comparatively gargantuan size of 23 by 8 millimeters. Additionally, the EPFL chipset uses very little power and is reported to be minimally invasive and consists of a fully integrated system that processes data in real time. That's different from Neuralink, which requires the insertion of 64 electrodes into the brain and carries out its processing via an app located on a device outside of the brain. MIBMI allows us to convert intricate neural activity into readable text with high accuracy and low power consumption, said Masha Sharon, who heads EPFL's Integrated Neurotechnologies Laboratory. This advancement brings us closer to practical, implantable solutions that can significantly enhance communication abilities for individuals with severe motor impairment. So another just interesting piece of technology being evolved, adapted, and making way in neuroscience. And it's going to be something that can be vastly used and very helpful, and has potential application to be very life-changing for humanity. So it's just exciting stuff coming out here in the future. It's a great time to be alive. I talked about a lot of awesome things today in this episode, a lot of interesting things that I found interesting. I learned a little bit. I hope you did as well. I appreciate you for tuning in. And we talked about Elon Musk, some Tesla robots, the RoboVan, SpaceX Starship. We talked about Trump and Kamala and the potential of the election going on here in the future, and that new brain chip coming out. And I want y'all to let me know whether y'all think these are good or bad in the chat down below in the replay if you're watching. Let me know what you think about these topics and what you want to hear in future episodes, what you want to hear me touch on. If you got anything that you want me to talk about, I got you. Just let me know in the comments. Thank you everyone for joining and tuning in today's episode. We got future guests coming up on the future episodes. We got some guests. We got some guests, lined up. So if you also want to be a part of an episode, you want to get an interview in, and you want to join the StormCast for a potential podcast guest, you let me know in my DMs on Instagram at ICMick, or down in the comments, comment down below, and let me know what you want to hear on the next episode. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I want you to go in that description, and if you want to support the StormCast further, consider joining that Patreon. And that's another way you can support the podcast. Appreciate everyone for sharing some questions down below and commenting and liking the video. It means a lot. And until next time, that has been another episode of the StormCast. I will see you in the next one. Peace.